Ferrari, it was something exotic, wasn't it? Whenever I was a kid, Ferrari was just this exotic team from afar. All their road cars were stunning, and I was really into them more than the racing team. Joining the team, I had to sort of pinch myself, and say, geez, I'm driving for Ferrari, I'm a Ferrari driver. My dad, he's a big fan of motor racing, and actually I've got a photograph of him in 1961, probably, I think it was, from one of them Grand Prix with his arm around Stirling Moss. My first recollections were probably when my dad was racing at Kirkison. I remember going down and polishing the car one day, and he won that race. And I was like convinced it was my polishing because it cleaned it so well, it went through the air quicker.
The first time I got really aware was in Suzuka end of '93, where he has his famous fight with Ayrton Senna during the World Council when he had to present himself. And I thought he was a bit arrogant. I must say I was not very happy. And then I saw him driving for Jordan in '94 and in '95, and I was quite impressed. And then when we had chose a teammate for Michael, I thought he should be the good one.
Whenever we first got married, Kathy and I, we moved to Newtownards, 26 South Street, which was on the Cumber Street, as everyone knows, was part of the old TT circuit. And that's where Eddie and Sonia grew up.
From there we moved to the Green Road, Conlig, and we spent a very, very happy childhood here, growing up in the countryside, doing what we wanted to do.
My father and I, we had the scrapyard going here, and we'd go all over Ireland towing in these crash cars. Sometimes we'd have E-tapes in here, breaking them up, MGAs and MGBs, and all that sort of thing, and his eyes would light up. He wanted a motorcycle or a scooter to go to school in, and I just didn't. I thought they were too dangerous. So I suggested we'll get a Formula Ford, and I had visions of me making a comeback.
The idea was that Edmund would run, he'd look after the car, and my father would actually drive. But Edmund got in the car and he was a lot faster than my father.
After he came in, I'd never seen him so excited. His eyes were standing out in his head and he was over the moon. So I said, hey, that's it, you drive it. And that was how it all came about.
I used to drive like a lunatic. I don't know how I survived, to be honest. I remember once going on my way down to Kirkson, I was driving an MGB, and we forgot something, and I shot back in the MGB to get it, and I had my sister's boyfriend with me at the time, and we came around this corner and I got totally sideways, went across the road on the wrong side of the road sideways, and came back again. Thought nothing of it at the time, because I thought I wasn't going to lose it, which I wasn't going to lose it, but if there had been something coming the other way, that other side of the road wouldn't have been there for the use. All it would have taken was a tractor to be sitting around there parked, or a lorry, which happened to a lot of young guys. I was lucky. honest, I don't know.
Eddie lives in Dublin and also in Italy. He lives in Dublin because he enjoys it there, his friends are there. But the actual business side of things, the heart of things, actually happens here, the Green Road in Cunlig. Hello? I'm sorry he's not here at the moment. Can I deal with it? Is it about the flats? He has various properties here, residential and commercial. They're ready at the minute. Yeah. And he also has taxi companies that I will oversee as well.
Eddie, he had to work for what he got. You know, he worked very hard. A lot of the other guys that are about now, they had it come quite easily. They were carting from the, 5 or 6 years old. They really didn't have the depth that Eddie had to go to actually just basically to survive.
The deal was that he worked for me, he didn't get any wages, and he worked 7 days a week. And any money that he was getting for wages went towards his motor racing.
He sold potatoes to get money, he sold cars to get money, and he was prepared to do that. And my father helped him all along the way, and my mother as well.
He needed us there. He needed us to do jobs. He needed me to go and get tape or whatever they needed. I was the go-for, and we were there for him. And we all went as a family.
It's going to be very close indeed. It is Vivian Daly, just from Lee Lewis and Edmund Irvine.
I was sewing his badges on, the sponsorship badges. And his balaclava was there, and there was a hole in the front of it. So I got needle and thread and I sewed the hole up. And next day for the race, all the boys were laughing, and I went up and I says, "What's wrong?" And they said, "Well, this is for the drink bottle. The tube went into that hole." And he says, "Oh, that's my man sewed that up."
And it's young Edmund Irvine in pole position, and away they go. Harry Black makes a great start,
Whenever we made another step, we thought we'd need to buy a new chassis for the Go Formula 4 race, and then I had to try and get the money from somewhere.
And Irvine still leads.
So I went down to my friendly bank manager and said that Kathleen needed a new kitchen, so I borrowed, I think it was £5,000 or £6,000 for the new kitchen. Kathleen's still waiting on her new kitchen.
The first guy that actually sponsored me was Ian Adamson, who you probably know as the ex-Lord Mayor, believe it or not.
At the time that young Edmund Eddie was gaining popularity in the sport, I had started a little publishing company which I called Britannia.
Eddie had won his place to the European finals at Zandvoort in Holland, and we needed the money to go, and Eddie, we didn't have the money.
Edmund Sr. came to me and told me that he was having some difficulty, and I sympathised with that. I have this Conlig identity along with the Irvines.
Ian published a book about Blair Main, and it sold very well for a Northern Ireland book or whatever. It sold very well in Northern Ireland, and the money he got from that, he gave me some money to go motor racing, £1,000, which at the time was a lot of money for just a doctor.
And Eddie sort of showed to me then what he was capable of, and he finished 11th, which was fantastic, we thought. So we decided, hey, we'd go to England and race there. So at this stage then I went and borrowed money for a crane for the scrapyard. I said I needed a crane.
Quite by accident, the factory next door to us, a New Zealand chap called Murray Taylor, took on this so-called wild boy, Eddie Irvine, and when I'd met him then I realised how true the story was, because he was quite wild in his young days. He was a little bit of a loner, he did strange things. Eddie was never going to conform. He didn't have the same, if you like, ability to attract money as some of the other drivers, wherever they were from in the world, seemed to be supported by all sorts of different corporates, whereas Eddie was his own man.
think we done about 4 races, and Murray Taylor, who was the team manager of the team Eddie was racing for, he decided in his wisdom that he wasn't going to run Eddie anymore, as he didn't think he was capable of being a racing driver.
I was about to finish racing and just get on with dealing in cars and getting involved in property and things like that, and I got that Works Van Diemen drive, which set me on the road.
Away they go. It's a good clean start. Irvine seems to have it at the moment.
Without that, I was nowhere.
We had to come up with £10,000, I think it was at the time. We didn't have probably £100 at that stage, but at least Eddie went up with he had the front to say to him, okay, yeah, I have it.
And there, locking up the front, Eddie Irvine, and I think a corner has gone off. That's a mistake.
But his idea was that he would earn it in the meantime while he was racing.
And there he is, Eddie Irvine, surely a Formula One star in the future.
There's so few opportunities going around that if you miss your first one, it's probably your last one.
Really, the end of a comprehensively, amazingly successful year for Eddie Irvine, who hopes to go forward to Formula 3. There, the checkered flag, the winner of the first edition Formula Ford Festival, Eddie Irvine from Northern Ireland.
You know, as a Grand Prix driver, you get paid well, quite rightly so. The heli, I've got my licence for the helicopter, and it's good fun. I have a guy that runs it in Ireland, and he does a lot of work with it, so it doesn't cost me. But the plane cost me obviously a lot of money to run. I was always against buying a plane because I thought you'd just get too cosseted. But this year I've been just travelling so much, it just got too much. You just have to pretend you're not earning, you know, whatever, $500,000 a year, whatever it costs to run this thing.
Edmund thinks a lot. People wouldn't see that particular side of things, but I say he analyses things, reads a lot, and he has a massive information on different topics.
Anya, have you got John Jenkins' telephone number? Yes.
I chose this plane because it's fast and it looks great. Range-wise, it's perfect to go to Milan or Bologna. I can hit a headwind and still get down there without stopping. It's quite a complex little bugger. You lose a lot of days of your life not having your own plane. Like I had to do something for Aer Lingus here the night before. I was testing till 6 o'clock in Monza, and I was in the jury's hotel at 9 o'clock. I wouldn't have got home until 1 o'clock the next day if I had relied on scheduled.
When he drove for us in 1990, in the 3000 programme, he continued on a winning way for us. And I remember him winning at Hockenheim, which was the first race in front of all of the Formula One team managers. And that is, if you like, indicative of Eddie. He could always do it when he really had to do it. The more you put his back to the wall, the more he'll respond.
When Eddie stepped up to Formula One in 1993 with Jordan, him and I became one of the only two people from Northern Ireland that were involved at that level of motorsport. Formula One's obviously the pinnacle of motor racing, and Eddie sort of came in with us there as a team. It was very nice to work with him.
Obviously, to drive in Formula One, it's a dream of mine since I was a kid. Whenever you're in Ireland, actually, it's so far away. It's like, you know, you don't think it's ever going to happen.
winner of today's Japanese Grand Prix, Ayrton Senna, has been reported for serious physical assault following an argument with the Northern Ireland driver Eddie Irvine.
And look at the way Eddie Irvine was pushing Ayrton Senna.
You have to make an impact in your first Grand Prix.
And he's giving Ayrton Senna a very hard time. Right up alongside him again, and is he passed? Yes, he is. Eddie Irvine is past Ayrton Senna.
I wasn't prepared to sit there the whole race waiting on him overtaking Damon. Senna was unhappy about that.
He said to me, "Who is this Senna?" Now, of course, everybody knew who Senna was, but it was just the mere arrogance of him. Who and why should this person be so upset that I should even consider passing him?
He couldn't accept that I wouldn't back down to him, and he lost control and had a swing at me, and I moved back to get out of the way of the punch and fell off the table.
It's just unbelievable. From being a nobody, he was known all over the world after one Grand Prix, and it was sensational.
Early in the following year was the problem in Brazil with the 4-car pileup.
Verstappen! Oh my goodness! Oh!
I never saw what happened. I was in a state of shock nearly because I thought someone would have got seriously hurt in it.
The guy in front, his engine blows up, he hits the brakes. The guy in front of me hits the brakes, and I swerve left to avoid getting into the back of him, and they say, that's my fault. It's just absolutely ridiculous what the FIA did to me there. They compared it to a motorway accident. They said if you're following someone and the guy in front of you brakes and you swerve into the middle lane to miss them, you cause an accident in the middle lane. But hey, in motorway, you shouldn't be following a guy at 200 miles an hour, 5 feet from his gearbox.
We should have perhaps just taken the 1 race ban and not gone and appealed, which wound up with a 3 race ban, but that was his choice. With me, it was a joint effort.
His biggest problem really, I suppose, was to join the club. The Formula 1 club needed him to join it, and he was a rebel, you see, so he's now got approval as being the rebel, but I think in his early stages in Formula 1 that was his biggest drawback, really.
Yeah, it's just these things are, they're sent to try, and I've been through rough things before, and this is just another one, so I think I'll bounce back. I've bounced back before.
In '95, after the Argentinian Grand Prix, Eddie said he was speaking to Luca Montezumola of Ferrari, and he seemed fairly interested in him, maybe driving for them some stage. But he said it's just talk, and if you listen to everything in Formula 1, you'd go daft.
We believe in him, and I personally do believe in him, because he was very good when he was driving for Jordan. He looks much more amateur than what he is, in fact, because in fact he's determined, he's professional, he knows exactly what he wants, and he has strong character and strong ideas. When you are Ferrari, you need 2 strong cars, so 2 strong drivers.
Joining it, I sort of had to pinch myself a little bit. But once you're in there, you don't really, it's like the next step. It's, if you had to take me out of Formula Ford and poof into Ferrari, yeah, it would have been like, God. But to go from Jordan into Ferrari, it was just a logical step.
Well, the first Grand Prix for Ferrari was in Melbourne. I happened to go over for it. And whenever you had qualified, Michael, that was something else. I was really pleased with that. I was jumping.
Go! And Villeneuve in his first Formula 1 Grand Prix start takes the lead from Damon Hill, and Eddie Irvine passes Michael Schumacher and goes up into third
whenever I got on the podium, they put up the flag of Southern Ireland, and some people got annoyed about that.
It was people venting their frustration, I think, more than anything. There was no damage to any of our property, or it was just threatening phone calls and a few letters and that sort of thing. The way I put it to them was that if you had to look at the flag to see where the driver was from, you weren't really that much of a motorsport fan.
To be honest, it's a bit sad. That people are so small-minded that, this flag makes a difference. I don't see how it affects their life, and it certainly doesn't affect my life. What flag's up there? I race on an Irish licence, which I always have done, because the Royal Irish Automobile Club, they give me the licence for free. And whenever I was racing Formula Ford, that made a big difference, because the licences were 100, 200, 300 quid sometimes.
So he wanted to fly a flag which he'd sort of thought of himself as the white shamrock, the green background, but the officials thought they would let him use it, and then they decided at the last minute not to let him use it. It has been settled now that it will always be the Union Jack. He's from Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom, and that's it.
We get a very good value because it's good to speak about the car, to comment the car to the engineers. So he's not only looking at what Michael is doing, he's looking about what he feels he has to do, which is good, because sometimes it opens us a direction for Michael when we are struggling with Michael.
What he would do, he would come here, do certain major jobs, rough jobs I would say, and in the end it's then up to me to decide the final job, like we doing a differential job. He would have done all the preparation beforehand, and I will then in the end make the decision on it.
First day here is a total waste of time because the track's dirty. There's no grip on the track even the second day because I was only driver running. So basically you're just destroying tyres. Every lap and a half you destroy a set of tyres. Really the important testing isn't done to the third day, and of course I'm going home. I'm sort of in a way a track cleaner to give it a slightly less glamorous term than it is, but I still learn little bits.
The way he explained himself being the road sweeper is completely wrong, obviously, because he gives important knowledge and information to the team. And looking to other teammates I have had, he fulfills much more his position than anyone else was able to do so far. And he doesn't look so much what I'm doing. He goes his own direction, which is good.
Yeah, you can't just draw it within effect. Yeah. Slope it down is gradually. It is already sloped, but now you have something like this.
He's actually the closest teammate I ever had, and I have great respect of his driving and human capacity. He changed himself this year. I mean, I never saw him running before, and suddenly this year he started to go jogging and do certain exercises. I'd say everything is working a little bit more to his direction. He can test if he feels he can get the success, and obviously that motivates him then to put even more effort from his side.
Mons is the home of motor racing in a way. Monza Ferrari, it's interlinked. There's one race a year that the fans, the Tifosi, have a chance to come and see you go really well at, and if you don't go well there, then it's a big disappointment. Jordan, they supply the physio and Ferrari don't. If your sister's a physio, it's a bit silly to employ someone else.
My initial role was to go in and just do pure physio, and then it expanded. So this is my second season in Formula One, and my role has expanded. So I not only do the physio, basically anything that he needs at a race weekend, then I will do. His manager just doesn't go to the races. I take on that role, but it's good. I enjoy it.
I can't wait to go to Monza thinking we can win this, you know, and I have to say that's not the case. I'm going there thinking, you know, damage limitation, what can I get out of this race? Can I get 1, 2, 3 points? And that's not a nice way to be going to Monza, but it'll be an amazing event all the same.
There's nothing I can do about the car. The car ain't good, and it was never going to be good at Monza. The aerodynamics aren't stable enough. The weight of the car isn't good enough. It's off a little bit in every department, and that all adds up.
Other than physiotherapy, you cook their food for them, you make sure his drink's bottle there, make sure he's wearing the right gear, that his sunglasses are there for his sponsorship side of things. Fan mail, whenever that arrives, I'll try and answer all of that at a Grand Prix race. People will come up to me and ask, can they fit an interview time in? I check it out with Ferrari if they're happy enough.
Sonia sort of runs everything now. You know, she's very well organised. Like, she's like, she blows the doors off everyone, to be honest.
Yeah, Eddie's moped.
She's got a problem. She's got a serious problem. Yeah, she just does too much, you know. She never like switches off. I'm the exact opposite. I'm very rarely switch on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please a big round of applause for Mr. Eddie Irvine.
There's a lot of non-driving commitments, but at the end of the day, the sponsors are the people putting in the money to Formula One, and it's something that has to be done.
So, Eddie, thank you very much for being here.
The non-racing activities are a real pain.
I think the temperature didn't help us, but it
You're just upstairs talking to, you know, some VIP guests of various sponsors, and she just say, "Oh, we go through this corner in third gear at 130 miles an hour, and then we go there." It's just like mind-numbing, but it's part of the job.
I don't get to look like this without training.
Sì, è vero, si vede.
They pay your wages, pays for the fuel in the airplane.
I train a little bit more than Michael normally. He's a father now and he's got to look after little girls, so obviously he's got more demands, but I'm single and I can afford to train a lot longer.
No, there's only they gotta go. Speak to you.
Eddie's great. It's great to have an Irish race who's doing so well and is representing us so well abroad. It's very important for ourselves to be able to be seen, to be supporting somebody like Eddie wherever he travels. There's a rumour going around that he dropped his phone and about 4 or 5 trucks ran over it a couple of hours ago, so we had to rush out and make sure he had another one so he could keep in touch.
It's been a long day's work. Non-stop. What are your thoughts about tomorrow?
I think it'll be a good race. The race will go better than qualifying, it always does. Big problem is Michael being beside me in the grid. If I make a good start, I've got to try and let him pass as soon as possible. So it makes things awkward.
A point or two's on?
Yeah, I think 1 or 2. If we get that'll be well placed.
And is this a late night for you before a race?
What time is it?
10 o'clock?
Yeah, no one had been in by now. I'm just like on the telephone or watching TV.
Okay, sleep well. See you tomorrow.
Will do.
Cheers, Eddie.
Eddie will always get a good start. Always. The problem is getting past the first corner.
Forza Schumacher.
Praying for rain. Tried the rain dance this morning.
We have chosen a grandstand which is at the first corner because we want to see him racing today.
Sometimes you get on better with than others, but there's not really a lot of opportunity to meet them, you know, because you're racing against them or you're in your motorhome. There's no opportunity, and to be honest, I don't really see the point of trying to buddy with them, because at the end of the day you'll have them off the road as soon as you look at them. You do mark their card. It's, you know, survival of the fittest when it's in my interest, you know. Revenge is a dish best served cold.
Abbiamo attenzione con Eddie Irvine che però nel primo intermedio è molto in ritardo rispetto ad Hakkinen, molto probabilmente un problema nel...
What do you call her? Monroe? The anti-inflammatory patches are put on at the last minute. You try and get him to take another drink, and then from there you're straight in onto the grid. You're talking on the grid, so your mind's kept off things.
I'm kitting out. I'm trying to get hold of you through there.
I've never been on the grid, even though I could go onto the grid. I think there's enough people on the grid.
Ferrari drivers in total for scoring points. Irvine hasn't been able to deliver recently for whatever.
If I'm watching the Grand Prix on television, I watch the start, and I don't seem to have any problem with that. But whenever I'm there, I have a problem with it. It's a nerve-wracking time where they're all jockeying for position.
4, 5, go! Great start here from David Coulthard, down 6th on the grid.
I prefer not to watch it, and I just go on a little wander about and do jobs. But I always stay close to home. I don't go out.
After about maybe 3 or 4 laps where, you know, I know things are going okay and he's settled down and there isn't going to be a restart, then I'm away off and I'm doing other things. If I'm in the Marlborough bus cooking his food, I catch snippets of what's going on, but on the whole I don't get a chance to see the race, which maybe is just as well.
Great strategy. That's put the McLaren out ahead of the Benetton. And Eddie Irvine in the Ferrari scrambles through the Rettifilo ahead of the McLaren. exits the Parabolica, crosses the line and wins the Italian Grand Prix with Alesi second, Princeton third, Fisichella fourth, Villeneuve in fifth position. Look back for Michael Schumacher.
Was David Coulthard one? Lazy second. And France in third.
What about Eddie?
Eddie finished 8th.
Congratulations to David Coulthard.
It was good because I was pushing very hard all race and I was lapping faster than Michael at the end, which is good. But no points, no prizes. Tomorrow off and then testing. Non-stop, babies.
Eddie's good at posto un secondo.
Your face either fits at Ferrari or it doesn't. Eddie's fits, but in a supporting role. He can never be the leading star. There are maybe 5 drivers in the world, 6 or 7 perhaps, that, and certainly Eddie is among that group, who could be world champion. But in the environment that he's currently in, he really has no chance.
To be honest, we all would have done it. There's not a driver out there that wouldn't have done the same thing. Now everyone in Formula 1 is playing by the same rules. Kill or be killed. There is no after you Claude sort of agreement. You're allowed to do anything until you have an accident and then it's looked at. If there's no accident, nothing's ever done, and I think that's wrong. I think either you're allowed to intimidate or you're not allowed to intimidate.
You had a big breakfast though, haven't you?
I have no idea how long I'm going to stay in Formula 1.
Saw Murray Walker last night.
Why it's fun, why stop doing it.
So not about motivation, no, doesn't he? How about you, Mark?
Winning is not everything to me, being, Eddie Irvine Grand Prix winner, Eddie Irvine world champion, that might mean something to the great unwashed, the public who don't know.
That's really common, but awkward getting out, aren't they?
If you fought for the championship and you did a bloody good job to win it, yes, but if it was just handed to you in a plate, I don't think it would turn me on too much. The big thing is knowing you've done a good job as opposed to just winning.